4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Do you know where your children are?
The Virgin Suicides, written by Jeffrey Eugene, tells the story of events surrounding the suicides of 5 sisters. The story takes place in Detroit, Michigan in 1974 as 4 neighborhood boys reflect on their neighbors, the 5 Lisbon sisters.
Everyone dates the demise of our neighborhood from the suicides of the Lisbon girls. People saw their clairvoyance out elms, the harsh sunlight, and the continuing decline of our auto industry. Even then, as teenagers, we tried to put the pieces together. We still can't. Now, whenever we run into each other at business lunches or cocktail parties, we find ourselves in the corner going over the evidence one more time. All to understand those 5 girls, who after all these years we can't get out of our minds. Cecilia, the youngest, was 13. And Lux was 14. Bonnie was 15. Mary was 16, and Therese was 17.
The 5 Lisbon girls were played by Leslie Heyman, A.J. Cook, Chelsea Swain, Christine Dunst, and Hannah R. Hall. The casting was very good. You could really believe that all 5 girls were sisters. Not only did each girl look alike, but they held their very own distinctive personalities. The casting choices and being able to see these characters come alive also added to some of the more minor characters. For example, Trip Fonte's character, played by Josh Hartnett, really came to life in the movie. You saw him walking down the hall with his oh-so-famous sunglasses and charming personality that is described in the book.
None of my daughters lacked.
The movie also allowed for the audience to be more sympathetic towards certain characters, like Mrs. Lisbon. In the novel, she is portrayed as a lot more mean and strict, but in the movie, you can see that the things she did for her daughters, she ironically did to protect them. The clothing in the movie was also done very well. The girls in dresses and the boys with their skinny jeans and patterned tops. The clothing definitely stays true to the time period.
How are ya? Glad you came tonight.
The real trouble begins after Cecilia commits suicide. Miss Lisbon is forced by her husband to bend her strict morals and allow the girls to go to the school dance. Lex goes with Trip, but she ends up coming home late, and the girls all get into trouble. Miss Lisbon enforces full security on the girls, not allowing them to go to school or to socialize outside. After months of confinement, the sisters leave a note for the boys across the street who have been watching the girls home, waiting for some kind of movement. The note that they leave for the boys is asking for help to escape. When the boys arrive that night, they find Lux alone in the living room, smoking a cigarette. She invites him to wait for her sisters while she goes to wait in the car. This scene is the most critical. Sofia Coppola, the director of the film, stayed extremely true to the book, even using many of the same lines. One thing she did change was the death of Mary Lisbon. In the novel, Mary lives a week longer than all her sisters, and we are able to gain sympathy for her. I believe that they made Mary die with her sisters so that we would not have to prolong the movie with something so insignificant. In the novel, it even says that although Mary was still alive, it was as if she was already dead. As the boys wander into the basement of the Lisbon home, they discover Bonnie's body hanging from the ceiling, Therese overdosed on sleeping pills, Mary with her head stuck in the oven, and Lux in the car with the engine running in the sealed garage. The scene is very dark, and the only real light is from the moon shining in. The camera angles create dramatic effect, causing the suspense to the viewer. The scene is also enhanced with sound effects, that as the boys get closer to the climax, the sounds pick up. We hear the creaking of the rope, the gas as it fumes from the oven, and the dead noise of crickets. The scene forces the audience into a darker mindset and allows us to realize the truth behind the girls' sadness towards their confinement in their home. I feel like the director wanted to keep the scene away from it being grotesque, but that she didn't want to lose the feelings that the scenes evoked, and so this is why the camera angles only show parts of the girls, enough that you know what has happened without the scene becoming gruesome. The scene was definitely effective, and created a very realistic portrayal to what is read in the book. Not only were they able to capture the emotional darkness within the home, but I believe that the movie really helped bring to life the novel. Although the movie did stay very close to what happened in the novel, it is as though you're seeing something completely different. The sets and the actors did a really fantastic job with their characters.
Only that we had loved them, and that they hadn't heard us calling, still do not hear us calling them out of those rooms, where they went to be alone for all time, and where we will never find the pieces to put them back together.